Hello my Wolfpack and welcome to a brand new competitive guide video where today we are going to talk about Skeledirge. Skeledirge. Don't know how you say it. Haven't actually seen it been said before, but you know, the fire type starter final evolution, and what we are going to do today is we are going to talk about 6 individual sets for this. Now 2 of them are double sets, one of them can link into a single set as well. I'll explain why when we get to it, but the idea with these sets is that I go through, talk about them, why I've done this, and why they are the best sets for these Pokemon, and at the end I will go through the Tera type. You can see on the video there, I've got all the Tera types available. I'm going to go through each of the individual Tera types and talk about whether they are good, whether they are bad, how they would work for this Pokemon, and if they're not good enough, I will remove them so you're left with a limited pool of Tera types to choose from. So I won't go through specifically on the Pokemon unless there's a very specific Tera type that's needed for that specific moveset. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, with the Skeledirge, I think I'm going to go Skeledirge. That sounds about right. We have got probably what's going to be the most common set, a Throat Spray Torch Song set. Now, what would work with this is if it's run in like a Trick Room scenario, or possibly if we get a max speed, we can run this in with a Tailwind scenario, but this does rely on you starting to set up, so do take it with kind of a pinch of salt aspect. But Torch Song. This increases your special attack by 1 stage. Throat Spray, activated by the Torch Song, gives you +2. So you essentially double your special attack using 1 move, whilst also causing a fairly significant amount of damage to the Pokemon. That is huge. Not to mention, you can then continue to chain on Torch Songs on top of it to get yourself to a +6 eventually. But at +2, you are going to be causing severe havoc for the vast majority of Pokemon. You've then got Shadow Ball, boosted for your stab, and also just covers a lot of different Pokemon. Earth Power, again covering different Pokemon, covers one of your weaknesses in the Rock type, but also is just a generally good move. Not to mention, if you've already got that Torch Song boost up, then that works really nicely. Slack Off to be able to heal yourself up whilst you're taking damage here, because you will be taking some damage. It's something that has to happen. Now, ability-wise, you have got Blaze and you've got Unaware. Now, you can run either of these. To be fair, Unaware probably works slightly better because you won't be paying attention to anything that's set up. So if you've got a Pokemon that's Swords Dancing, so for example a Scizor or something, you're not going to take that plus whatever damage. So Unaware works really well. Blaze can work in the scenario that you are low on health. And if you're low on health, this means you get the 1.3 times increase on your Fire type move. 1.5 times on your Fire type moves, which again completely will demolish any Pokemon. So, you know, Torch Song Throat Spray combination is a really impressive situation that we've got going on. EV wise, I'd recommend you go for max HP and max special attack, modest nature, so more special attack, less attack, and raw EVs wherever you want. You could chuck them in speed if you want to just outspeed any other Skeledirges, but that's up to you. You could also, and this is only if you are running kind of speed support, so things like sticky webs to slow down the opposing Pokemon, you could run max speed as a possibility. Now you do need to be very cautious of this because there are some Pokemon that are going to guaranteedly outspeed you, and you're then not going to have your bulk to be able to kind of absorb up some of those hits. So you do need to be cautious, but there are some scenarios where you might be able to run max speed with a timid nature in this scenario. But again, look at it very specifically, look at the speed tiers, look at who you're outspeeding, you're not outspeeding on your opponent's team for this draft league, or in general on the Pokemon that are on the rule sets, then just bear that in mind if you're going to try and run that set. Second Skeledirge, I have got a bit more of a kind of supportive-ish set. Now I did take out Torch Song for this one, I put on Flamethrower just to show you an alternative fire type attack, but Torch Song, I'm going to be honest, is the best fire type attack for Skeledirge to use 100% of the time, unless you're using something like kind of trying to hit both Pokemon, but we can talk about that later. So leftovers on this allowing you to heal yourself up ever so slightly every turn, which will just mean that you're taking less damage. Unaware again is your ability. Blaze can work, Unaware both work in these scenarios. Will-O-Wisp allowing you to burn the opposing Pokemon, halving their attack power. Now this is absolutely huge because Skeledirge has base 100 defense and 104 special defense, meaning this thing can wall out physical Pokemon. And also, if you are burning them, you're going to halve their power. Now do be cautious because Hariyama and Luxray are both in the game and they both have guts. If they get burned, they are going to cause more damage. However, in 99% of circumstances, they will have a method of burning themselves. So realistically, the Will-O-Wisp does next to nothing in regards to this. Then you've got Hex. I thought Hex works fantastically because you're burning the opposing's Pokemon. If you're burning it, you're giving it a Status Condition. Status Condition causes Hex to increase its power to, I think, 2 times. Yeah, so 2 times, meaning you've got a base 130 power boosted by Stab, Hex, attack there. Now if you put on a Ghost type Terra Stall on that situation, then you got even more power, which would just be absolutely huge. I think that's 260 base power on Hex. That would destroy. That would really mess up some of the Pokemon, realistically. Not to mention, if you combine that with Torch Song and got some +1s, +2, +3, that again could be completely destroyed. But you know, we are getting into scenarios that are absolutely insane. Then I've got Slack Off again. Slack Off appears on most of these sets just because it's a really good opportunity to heal yourself up, because where your speed tiers are, you're kind of in a mid-speed tier, low mid, but essentially if there's a Trick Room team or anything, again, you're probably going to have some Pokemon that are going to underspeed you, but in that case they would then outspeed you because of the Trick Room, and you're going to take damage. So you are going to be taking damage in sets, so you do need to be able to either reduce that damage or change your stats based on that. But we can't change the stats, so we're going to do it for healing up that damage. Moving on for the third Skeledirge. I thought it was Skeledirge, honestly. Skeledirge, I've gone for a Choice Specs. Now, Choice Specs works really nicely, again, in combination with Torch Song, because you can still get to the max special attack boost on Torch Song, and it will also then work cooperatively with the Choice Specs boost. So you can really, really destroy different Pokemon. This works slightly better in some circumstances, other than like the Throat Spray, that's it. Other than the Throat Spray, because you will get more power out of this. But it's got the limitation of you are specifically stuck in that singular attack. So you do need to be very, very careful. Going for Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice is a strongish attack from a normal type perspective. Hits the majority of Pokemon for neutral damage. You hit with Earth Power for super effective damage on anything that isn't hit by the Hyper Voice anyway, so that's all good. Shadow Ball, strong stat, that's all I need to say. Earth Power covers a couple of your weaknesses, covers your Rock type weakness in particular. EVs, go for max HP, max special attack, modest nature again. Realistically, this is the one that's going to work. This is going to be the best situation to have for your EVs in 99% of the time when it comes to Skeledirge. Then we're going to go for another kind of supporty set in a way. Again, we can run Torch Song on this if we want to, but Flamethrower is another option. It also has a chance to burn, which can be pretty good. You've got Yawn on here, allowing you to make the Pokemon drowsy, meaning that either they are going to switch out or they're going to let their Pokemon fall asleep. Now, if you have Torch Song in this, you can then start setting up, but you can also then start playing around, slacking off, using Flamethrower and Roar as well. So Roar is a negative priority, always goes last, but if we have Hazard set up, Roar can work really, really nicely. So if you have Stealth Rocks, Toxic Spikes and Spikes all set up, all causing lots and lots of problems for your opponent and roaring them out, that means that some Pokemon will take, well, very few Pokemon, they will take 75% damage on income, which is absolutely huge. But the vast majority of Pokemon, they will take between 25% and 50% damage. And possibly get toxic poisons as well. So if you can have that set up on your hazards, this set works really, really nicely in combination with it. Can also work in combination with just causing your opponent to have to switch out a lot. So again, I would always take the hazard combination with this specific set in this scenario. Slack Off again is just to heal yourself up. As I said, Flamethrower or Torch Song definitely work, but with this one you are probably going to be switching in and out a little bit more than you would be with any of the other sets, so Flamethrower is a good alternative. It's slightly more powerful and also means that you don't have to worry about kind of the setups and switching out and then coming back in and trying to set up again when you don't necessarily need to. EV wise, max HP, max defense with bold nature, so more defense, less attack, and 4 EVs in special attack, or you can play around with that slightly based on what you're needing for your sets. Now we're going to move into the double set. Now this one is a double/single set, because you can run it in singles, but it works better in doubles. I'll explain why once I've gone through the set. So here we've got a Life Orb. You can run Leftovers, you can run Room Service as well, if you're running a Trick Room scenario. So you've got Curse. This increases up our attack and our defense and lowers down our speed, which can work really nicely in cooperation with the Trick Room in a doubles aspect. So if you got 1 or 2 curses up, you would then have -2 speed, +2 attack, +2 defense, meaning you're going to take a lot less damage from the defensive front. You are going to be causing a lot more damage from the attack front. Now, base 75 attack, it's not amazing, but if you do double that, it's there. We see it's there 188. That goes to 372, I think, which means that it's going to be causing quite a lot of havoc to your opponent, and you do get some really good, strong attacks from the physical point of view as well. Earthquake, powerful ground type attack, hits a lot of different Pokemon. If you want to go for the ground Terra Stall as well to get the stab boost on there for 1.5 times, really would be fantastic. Shadow Claw, strong stab, ghost type attack anyways, and there are a whole plethora of fire type physical moves that you go for, things like Flare Blitz. You've even got Flame Charge if you want to try and mitigate the curse situation, but I'd recommend going for the Trick Room situation in a double set 100% of the time with this specific scenario. It is a bit more gimmicky and it is a bit more difficult to pull off, and you do have to kind of play around what your team is playing, but if you have Trick Room, Ally Switch, you can start setting up a lot of curses and basically then just sweep the opponent's team alongside that. And if you have something like the Iron Ball on here or Room Service to just lower down your speed as much as possible, then again, that can work in your advantage. So really, really interesting set, but you can give it a go if you would like. Moving on to the next and final double set, we have got a Snarl set. So Snarl works really nicely because it lowers down the special attack of both of the opponent's Pokemon, which if you are running a very special based team, which I have done a few times, and I have been completely paralyzed by Snarl because I've not been able to do any damage because I've had purely special mons or support mons there. So Snarl works really, really nicely to lower down the special attack of the opposing Pokemon, meaning that you are going to take less damage from their special moves in general. Slack Off to heal up because realistically healing is going to be important. Torch Song, because again, increasing up your special attack stat is going to work really nicely, and if you have a combination with another Pokemon that's going to be using something like Ally Switch along with Fake Tears, that can work really, really well in your favour. So my thought here would be Meowscarada, going for a Taunt initially whilst you're going for a Snarl to lower down their special attack, and then possibly going for a Torch Song whilst they go for Ally Switch, allowing for you to be able to increase up your special attack and have that situation where you're probably going to take less damage than you would because it's going to go into the opposing slot. Then I've also put Will-O-Wisp on here, realistically lowering down the attack stat as well. So the idea of this set mostly is to just completely make the opponent's team unusable. So make those Pokemon so they cannot cause enough damage to take you out, and you can slack off any % of the damage back. So that is the idea with this set, and it works really nicely, as I said, with an Ally Switch Pokemon or a Pokemon that's going to allow taunts to stop them from setting up, stop them from healing, all that kind of stuff. So this is a really, really fantastic set. I think this is definitely the best set that you can come up with in doubles, at least in my opinion. If you disagree with that, you can disagree with that, but this works really, really well. In terms of EVs, there are several different ways you can run this. I definitely recommend going for the max HP, max special defense scenario, or a max HP, max defense. But realistically, you do have relatively good defense. You can naturally sponge a hit normally, and if you get the Will-O-Wisp going, then normally you can deal with that. Whereas the Snarl, it takes 2 turns to get in the same scenario, so you do need to kind of consider those. So I would think special defense, calm nature, more defense, less attack, and some EVs and special attack as well would work really, really nicely here. Now, if you want to run like a Tailwind scenario, you can run a little bit of speed in your Skeledirge. It's however you want to personally run it. But personally, I think that this set is absolutely amazing, and I would really recommend that you try it out. Just try and completely bop the opposing Pokemon's attack and special attack, and have an ally Pokemon that's just playing shenanigans. Then you are going to have a really, really, really successful time with this. Finally, we are going to go through each of the individual Tera types. So looking at Tera types, we have got the bug type initially. So in terms of our weaknesses, we are looking at Ghost being a weakness, we are looking at Water being a weakness, Ground, Rock, Dark, all kind of weaknesses here. So Bug actually does work because it can get rid of those Dark types that come in. So if you want to run Terra Blast on it, you can. Or if you just want to run the typing, meaning that you still get your stab because you do still get your Stab Fire and Stab Ghost when you do Terrestrialize, that's the word. So Bug definitely is a possible workaround here. You have got Dark. Now Dark, typically it doesn't really do much for you, but it also doesn't do nothing for you, meaning that essentially it is going to stop you from having your Ghost type weakness, it's going to stop you from having your Dark type weakness, but it's not really going to do anything else on the other side there. So Dark is a possible one, but it's not going to be a hugely beneficial one. I'm going to take it off just to limit the amount of options that we do have here. I think Bug is definitely still very low on the list, but I think it's slightly more useful than the Dark typing. You then got the Dragon typing. Now Dragon typing, you've got a weakness to Water types, which you then manage to get away from, but you'll get neutral on all your other targets. Ice types are unlikely to come in because Skeledirge will be able to just destroy them. Fairy types, again, when it comes to fire types, they struggle a bit more, so they're not naturally going to switch in. And then you've also got the Dragon type itself, which Dragon types definitely can switch in against Skeledirge. So again, Dragon type does work. I'm going to keep it here because it does work just enough. Fire type, maintaining your fire type, getting a essentially ×2 adaptability boost is how I'd probably describe it. So ×2 on your fire type stab bonus definitely is going to be beneficial. So having that there really works. Flying type, it gets rid of your ground type weakness, I suppose, but it does keep your rock weakness being a problem. So I think personally I am going to take flying off. It does work in some scenarios, but in the majority it probably won't. Ghost typing, same reason as the fire typing. I definitely think that scenario will mean that it can work fantastically. Obviously, you're going to get 2 times boosters. As I said, with that Hex scenario, it works really nicely. Normal typing, fighting types are unlikely to come in, so you are unlikely to have that effect, but I don't think normal typing typically is going to have any real huge benefits to you, so I am going to take the normal typing off. Poison typing, your ground type weakness is still there. A psychic type is unlikely to come in, but ground typing is so common that actually this poison typing I don't think is going to be worth coming in because you can't really deal with the ground types as well as you might want to do. Psychic typing, again you've got your kind of dark weakness opening up, so the psychic typing you're not going to want as a terrestrial type. Electric, again you've got your ground weakness, which would mean it's problematic, so electric typing I'm also going to take off. Fairy typing could be really interesting because 1, it gets rid of your dark type weakness if you run something like Terra Blast. 2, you're not going to see many problems in terms of ground, rock and water, so I think fairy typing definitely can work in this scenario. Fighting typing, again, runs the exact same reasoning as the fairy typing, honestly, so I would say, yeah, go for that one as an option as well. Grass typing, definitely. Grass typing, I would say, is probably one of the best terrestrial typing to have on Skeledirge because 1, it deals with your rock type weakness, your ground type weakness, and your water type weakness, as well as just giving you a generally good typing. But you are going to have to pay attention to the fact that you are going to have your fire type weakness, your ice type weakness, your bug type weakness, so do be cautious, but a lot of the mons that will come in against the grass types will be dealable with your fire type stabs, so grass typing definitely keep in. Ground typing, it will allow you to cover your rock type weakness. As I said, it does work nicely with the earth power combination, or the earthquake combination, I should say, so ground typing definitely does work. Ice typing is not really a here or nor there. Again, you've still got your rock weakness, so personally I'm going to say no to the ice type weakness there, or the ice type terrestrial in this scenario. You've got the rock type. Now rock type could be interesting to definitely run because it would allow you to cover a couple of your weaknesses except for water, which can be a big problem there, so again going to take that one off. Steel typing is definitely a very good typing from what I can think of straight away, so your dark typing, it will take neutral. Ghost typing takes neutral. Ground typing is a problem though, and ground type is very common to actually steal. Goodbye. Water typing, probably one of the best terrestrial types for this, because again it covers your rock, your ground weakness. It will allow for you to hit really hard with a terrestrial attack on either of those. If a grass type wants to come in, you have a fire type attack at the ready, so that can really destroy it. So realistically, yeah, water is one of the best. I would say that water and grass are probably going to be really good terrestrials here. So those are your options there. But yeah, I'm going to finish this off here. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any alternative sets, please do comment them down below. Let me know how you've been using Skeledirge, or let me know how to actually say it if you figured out how to say it. because I'm going to be honest, I think I'm saying it wrong. But let me know any other sets. If you're new to competitive, go and check those out. Hopefully this has been beneficial to you. If you're a veteran competitive veteran, then obviously leaving that comment of what sets you've been using, it'll be really helpful for people that are getting started, especially with how competitive is much more accessible in this generation. But without further ado, I'm going to finish this off. Please do like, subscribe and comment. I'd really appreciate any interaction. I've tried revamping these, so hopefully you guys are enjoying them more than the previous ones. But yeah, I'm going to finish this off. So have a good one, and I'll see you soon.